Good morning and afternoon. It's Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Welcome all. I'm Kane and I'm joined with David, also known as the Workday Sharing Guy. Also joining us is Denise, the Sharing Show organizer. Welcome to the Sharing Show.
Kane, can you tell me a little bit more about Zoom?
Certainly. So everyone's lines are muted. It is a live broadcast. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to use the chat feature. Remember, this is a weekly live show, so feel free to interact. You will get reminders each week of this show. And so now let's get on with it. I'm ready to hand over to you, Denise, for our first Kahoot.
Okay, everyone, take out your smart device, or you can do it on your computer, whatever you have in front of you, and log into kahoot.it. And we're just going to do a couple questions just to get to know everybody better. And you're going to be here in just a second. You'll see it at the top, and we're just going to type that number in. It's 417965. And I'll ask you for a name. Just put in a nickname or whatever you would like. We'll wait a couple minutes here. We have 54 attendees, so let's see how many we can get signed in here. Okay, here's our first question. What area of the world do you live in? Europe, Eastern North America, Western North America, or other? It looks like most of our guests today are in Eastern North America, so the East Coast of the US and Canada, looks like. Our next question is, how long have you been doing Workday? Less than 1 year, 1 to 2 years. Yellow is 2 to 5 years, and green is over 5 years. Looks like we have a lot of experience today with at least 12 of us over 5 years. And then we have a lot in the middle too there, at the 1 to 2 years.
All right, Denise, who's up next?
Up next is David, our Workday Sharing Guy.
Okay, hi everybody, this is David. At the start of every show here, I have a disclaimer. It's my agreement with Workday to make sure everybody knows I'm not currently a Workday employee. Those of us in the Workday world know that inside the Workday system, I'm actually a Workday employee, I'm just not active. To be clear, I started as a Workday employee back in 2007 as employee 149, but I left Workday maybe around 6 years ago or so. So what is really important is just to be clear, this show does not represent Workday itself. Anything I say or what anyone else says does not in any way represent Workday. We're Workday customers, all helping each other. Share-a-thons are knowledge sharing, customers working together. This is not training. I highly recommend the Workday training.
Denise, what's next on the agenda?
Our first ask, can I get attachment securities with Sean Dar from Washington?
Thanks so much. Good morning. Thanks for creating this new sharing platform and for inviting me to share today. Today I am sharing a question about domain security, and I will start with a little context. At my organization, we are currently reviewing domain security for candidate attachments. Our current setup is displayed on the slide here. And we're considering changing a decision made at implementation, which for us was over 4 years ago and before the existence of our HRIS team here. And our review of this domain has been prompted by a couple of Workday changes. The first change happened in the 31 release. With 31, as you know, candidate attachments were made available on the worker documents. And that created some increased visibility to these documents for a few security groups that already have access to that same info on the candidate profile. As you can see in our setup on the slide, managers were given access to this domain. And since it it's an unconstrained group, they can access and modify attachments on any candidate profile, including their own, but they'd have to go looking for it, of course. So with the 31 release, these managers can now see their own recruiting attachments right on their worker documents. So we've been considering how we might change their access, as we don't always want the documents uploaded during the recruiting process to be right in front of their noses on the worker profile. The other change prompting our review of this domain security is that the rate interview functionality is scheduled to be deprecated this fall. And that gives us the perfect opportunity to revisit the way we've configured that task to both communicate expectations to and collect feedback from our hiring managers about the interview process. So as we look to replace the rate interview functionality and think about the challenge of increased visibility I just mentioned, we're revisiting the previous decision to allow managers access to this domain of candidate attachments. So when I first looked at this domain in our own setup, I assumed it might just be an easy swap, remove the unconstrained manager role and replace it with the constrained manager role, with the effect that managers would then only see attachments for applications to jobs in their own supervisory org and would no longer see their own either on their candidate profiles or in their worker docs. But of course, it's not that simple because this domain only allows unconstrained types of security groups, and that is Workday owned. Thus my homage to MC Hammer and you can't touch this. So it seems that we're faced with the option of either removing managers altogether from this domain or creating a segment-based security group, and we'd like to know what other customers are doing. So my question is, how are other customers approaching manager permissions to this domain? And did or will your approach change upon replacing rate interview with manage interview, if you've done that already or plan to do that this year? Personally, I've seen a few brainstorms on community about adding constrained groups, but I don't know that's on the roadmap. And we're looking to make the change sooner rather than later. So we're really curious to see what others are doing in this space. I do have a post up on the Q&A forum on community, and that's referenced right there on the slide. So I'm happy to collect feedback there or in the chat feature here on the sharing show. That's it. Thanks for letting me share my question, David.
This is a challenge question that I had posted on community for those who haven't seen it. And if I showed you where it was, it would give away the answer. There's two different pictures here. The one on the left is a report that is sorted by the hire date. And very clearly the dates are in order. The picture on the right over here is when somebody asks you to display only the month and the year. They don't want to see that much detail in the report. The end user just wants to see month. How would you then sort that? You would see it's actually a problem here because the Januaries are sorted 2015, 2016, and then you hit February. So this is another way of explaining the problem. Let's say that the end user wants to see Jan, Feb, March, or April, and you want to be able to sort that. You want the output of the report to sort by that column, but you don't want to do this. You don't want to say 01 Jan, 02 Feb. That would be confusing. So that is the challenge question for this week, and you have the rest of the show to be thinking about this. The question will be, how many calculated fields do you need to solve this challenge? All right, Denise, what do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we have the fun photo of the week with Chestmere from Prague.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is Čestmír, based in Prague, the Czech Republic, so representing Europe here today. I just got inspired by this sharing show and I started running this Workday meetup in person. So we'll have more lunches coming up here in Prague, and I've got additional people lined up, and obviously we're missing ladies here. So I promise the next picture I'll be sharing here, there's gonna be A, more of us, and B, there's gonna be some ladies as well. So maybe in a few weeks.
Okay, now speaking of that, there actually was a female in your picture, Čestmír. Maybe you didn't find her.
Thank you.
Denise, what else is on the agenda for today?
Up next is the I Love Workday photo contest.
Okay, so for those who didn't join last week, we had one of the participants of the I Love Workday photo. It's a photo and story contest. And the idea is the photo itself is maybe good enough, but often there's a story behind it. So you could go and take a look at last week's recording if you want to see one person who has joined the show. This is a call out for those who are in this contest to join next week and tell us the story behind your photo. Also, you can look on community to find this page, and it's not too late to add photos. This was an I Love Workday. The official list you see here was for Valentine's Day, but the contest will continue between now and Rising.
Denise, who is our next guest?
Up next is Tina from Texas with her pictures.
So this is my first sharing show event, but it's definitely not my first sharing experience by far. My main share for today is just to express my love for Workday, the community, the networking, and all the ways that Workday and collaboratively we promote the knowledge sharing of the Workday system. So I've been in the Workday ecosystem for just over 7 years now. Unfortunately, I've only been able to attend 3 Workday Rising events. 2014, I was in San Francisco. 15 was Las Vegas, and 2017, I went to Chicago. Hopefully, there's going to be more Risings in my future. It is such an awesome experience. So if you ever get a chance to go, please take advantage of it. Go to Rising. But beyond just the learning and sharing aspects of Rising, I've also seen a few celebrities at these events. I've sat next to Floyd in one of the classes. I don't have a selfie, sorry. And they had Peyton Manning as one of the speakers at the Chicago Rising in 2017. Aside from Rising, I've also participated in many local user group meetings as well as webinars. And similar to what the prior guest, sometimes just having starting with the little meetup groups like that is the way to go, and then it can grow and expand from there. But I'm also an avid searcher on community, and I just think it's amazing that there are all these different ways to connect with the other users that share the common love and passion for Workday. Everyone's ultimately on the same version of Workday, even if they didn't uptake all the features at the same time. But it just makes it a lot easier to collaborate and learn from each other, or even assist when someone's stumped on a Workday configuration. We can call out a colleague and say, hey, I'm stumped on this, kind of like what this whole event is about. Sharing, and we have our ask questions and everything like that, and just coming together on all this. I just think it's so awesome. And then of course, the sharing show with our very own sharing guy, David, who's started a lot of this and everything. So along with my Workday journey through all these sharing avenues, I've learned so much. I've met a lot of great people, made many connections, and it just makes the experience feel more like a family than a job. And through this expanding network, this family just continues to grow. So this is why I love Workday.
Well, thank you, Tina. And I could kind of feel the virtual hug happening. Probably maybe at least half of the group. And so, just like that earlier picture of it starts with a little meetup lunch group or something. We did the exact same in Dallas. We had 2 or 3 of these, Tina, and then Toyota hosted a share-a-thon in Dallas. We had 70 people there. So it started with a dozen and grew pretty quickly. Okay, so let's move forward here. You'll see in the bottom left, this is something I've posted on community, and there's a link there. Besides what we're doing here live, what we do here is give you an opportunity prior to get us a picture, and you could ask your question at the start of the show.
Meanwhile, what do we have next?
Up next, Boomerang's return.
You'll see here a highlight of the date of Tuesday, March 19th. That's not the sharing show. That is a Boomerang integration share-a-thon. It's 2.5 hours remote, and that is that's a different approach. A lot more unstructured and open airtime for people to be sharing boomerangs. So this is Workday hack number 6. This was a pretty popular Workday hack, and I highlighted why. You could search for a single number, like the number 1. It shows here searching for the number 5 with a #5. So search for WDH-006 and you'll find that on community. So this is a preparation for this final quiz. We have only a few minutes left. Just take a look at this picture.
All right, here we go with our quiz Kahoot here at the end. So if you'll go ahead and log back into the Kahoot IT, we have your PIN number, which is 560452. This one works a little bit different. This is a quiz, so there is a right and wrong answer on this one. Okay, there's just 2 questions. Here we go. The first question is, how many calc fields to sort a report by hire date? The first answer, you can do this without any calc fields. Blue is 1, yellow is 2, and green is 3 or more. I feel like there was maybe some answers in the chat for this.
Yeah, maybe not giving that away, but as this comes up. All right, so those who, we know that 5 people were not watching the chat, including me, but I think something's popped up on my screen. We're not going to be able to prevent people from doing that. But last year's winner is in the lead. Go ahead, Denise. Sorry.
In the lead is David F. How many Logans were in the picture? Red is 2, blue is 4, yellow is 8, and green is 16.
We get to see if David F repeats as champion here.
There's 8. I'm curious to know if people guessed or they actually could see or count. Be interesting to know. Okay, it looks like Rebecca is the winner today with Chris M in second and Shar in third. Nice job, Rebecca.
Okay, so that was the picture. Okay, there you go. Those were the 8 Logans. All right, Denise, let's wrap it up.
Okay, so for the latest news on our sharing show, if you'll go to my LinkedIn page, we have a group that's just the sharing show. If you ask to join, we'll let you in there, and that's where we're going to be posting all of the information that you'll need.
Come here. This is what it looks like on my screen. And for me, it shows invite members. So you request to join, right? So don't get distracted. Do it now. Go on to LinkedIn and request to join the sharing show. That's what it looked like for me when I joined.
Thank you, David. Great show, everyone. As we're recording these shows each week, they will be published to the Sharing Show YouTube channel. So if you all go along to YouTube, search for the Sharing Show and subscribe and set up your notifications, then you will also get notified every time we post content or this show, for example. So please, as well as join the LinkedIn group, please go over there and do the same. So again, great show. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for the guests for coming on. And we look forward to another show next week. So everybody have a great workday.